Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of FoolCraft. And just like the last time, there has been a live stream in between the episodes. If you'd like to check it out, there'll be a link for you in the description box. I'm not going to harper on about it as we're going to be seeing some of the things we did in that stream. In this episode, of course, some of it is in front of you right now. Can you notice it? There's a little trim up the top here going around. Well, those are solar panels. These have been moved into a much better permanent position, which from up here, gotta say, looks a little bit odd, the orange against the marble, but from down below adds a lovely little trim. Now you might be wondering, how is the power getting through all of this? Well, an easy way for me to demonstrate that to you is actually to grab a conduit, put it in my hand, and all of a sudden these blocks become invisible. That's because I've made some conduit facades over here, and I love these because they work with connected textures. So this looks exactly like normal, right? Except it's actually an energy conduit going up to the top there. Now another cool thing about this is that these solar panels actually join together and create a chain. So you just need one connection for all of those panels to go down below, and it now means that we're making a serious amount of power. In fact, I've made another capacitor bank and I can just throw it down there and it will connect and start charging up. Look at that, 5,000 odd RF per tick. That is pretty fancy, isn't it? I like it. So that's some of the things we've done. There's going to be more things I'm showing you. Something else I'd like to do is open some loot bags because we got tons of pet bags and artifact bags. In fact, I'm probably going to open these off camera and show you the good stuff that we get, but I'll open two of them on camera right now. We've got ourselves a black hole pet. That sounds kind of crazy. It will slow time when you right click. Should we do it? Should we slow down time? I'm guessing that's going to be the sun, isn't it? So I'll leave my cursor right there. I'll right click. Did we do it? Did we slow down time? Am I missing something? I got no idea what that's doing. It doesn't look like it's changing the time over there. Fair enough, fair enough. Well, it's another pet down. And in here, we got a chance isohedron. Okay, we're saving that for the end of this episode. At the end, we're going to be opening that sucker. We also got a decapitate upgrade. How very pleasant is that? So in this episode there are several things that I've got planned for us to do, but one of those is mystical agriculture. Now last episode the three of us got together and discussed the various things that we're doing, and I know Beef had started on this a little bit already, but he was cool with me taking it over. So thanks to our loot bag project we actually have tons and tons of essence. This is the stuff from the other storage system, and right here, look at that, stacks upon stacks of essence, which is just fantastic. Let's head back up the top. So we're going to start off by using the quest line to get some rewards, although I don't think they're really going to help because we've got an insane amount of stuff, as you just saw. In fact, it's linked up to this ender chest over here. So if we open up our quest book and go back a level, that is the first one to do, and I bet it's like a stack of each. So let's come in here and rip out a stack of all these essences. That's all of them, right? We've now got a stack of each in our inventory. Let's go back into here. Aha! So we get the lower one as a reward. The next one, yep, it's the lower one each time, isn't it? And now we can just breeze through here, super simple. And I like that, we get a set of armor. That's very cool. Now I've heard that some of the armor in this pack will allow you to fly. We don't have flight yet. I'm getting a lot of requests to do flight, and do you know what? I'm not going to rush into it, but if we happen to stumble onto it, that'll be just fine. So some legendary loot bags and loot chests for making the Master Infusion Crystal. I've got a feeling this isn't going to be too difficult to get. Master Infusion Crystal, there it is. Yeah, that's going to be a piece of cake. In fact, we can do it right now. Okay, well, let's open up the quest book. Let's detect. And do we get to pick a reward, or do we get all of them? I claimed something. We've done it, and that's everything. Okay, well, I guess we're all good to get into mystical agriculture then. And there's my loot chests. Wow, it's filled up my entire inventory. I don't think we got the loot bags. In fact, these don't stack, do they? So we missed out on 5 of those, unless they're at my feet. Damn it! Oh well, whatever. Let's put this down on the ground. And do we get all of that stuff? It just chucks it everywhere. That's just terrific. There's probably nothing too useful that's going to come from this. And all it's done, peeps, is it's made a big mess in our base. So I'm cooking up some materials over here. We are going to need some fancy stuff if we're going to craft some solar panels, which I would like to do for this next thing. Is that? Yeah, that's creating something straight away. So I've got to take that out, and then it will use the two together, which we need to make these advanced photovoltaic cells. Now the reason I want to jump up to those ones, even though it's more work to craft, is because you can use these to upgrade them to the next tier, right? But these ones aren't actually used for anything, as far as I know. We can press U and find out that you can put them on a helmet. And that seems to be it, right? So we're making these ones, and they're going to go on top of the next shrine that we're going to build. So this one over here could actually have this done for it as well eventually. I didn't really think of that. But continuing in this direction, we're heading towards Vintage Beef. He's actually online, or was online, apparently he logged off. Heading towards his direction so we can link up with him. So eventually our path will go from that one through here and down to this little shrine, which has been built a little bit lower, a little bit smaller overall. I actually think maybe the pillar should be 1 block taller. I can always rebuild that if I don't like it. You can see this is level with the ground, and I'm just trying to variate the design each time. So once again, we're going to be going underground to build our mystical agriculture farms. It's going to be a lot bigger project than the last time we went underground, but I brought with me some of these conduit facades. So what we'll do on the side, like we've done in our base, is hook this up to the top, and then we can have a ring of those solar panels around the top, providing this thing with power. And then because it's on the pillar, oh, you can swap it like that, can you? What if I hold down shift? Okay, I learned something. That's good. Have I lost a block? Hang on, didn't... No, okay, this thing is 4 tall. Right, I need to go make one more conduit facade. Okay, but yeah, we'll basically fill this thing up with some of these energy conduits, and it will bring power down below. There's been some serious back and forth. It's one of the things that I'm not too keen on in this game, is travelling back and forth. But walking through this biome, pretty awesome. I like it. And that's the point of the layout, is that we get to walk around a lot. Ooh, and from up here you can kind of see the solar panels. And yes, I put the different ones on that one because there's more of them, so you can wrap further around. And I figured the main ones should probably go on our main base over there. So anyway, it's providing us with power. And right now what I've gone and grabbed is a diamond wand. After I walked over there to get the conduit facade and walked over there to grab something else and something else, that's just the way it goes, right? So down here, oh, we've got the battery just there. It's charging up slowly. I've been using it to charge up these farming stations as well. And the reason I wanted the wand is because once again, we're doing the same thing we've done in the other one where we've got this quarried stone coming down. But it's below here that we're going to start to introduce some new building materials into our build palette. We're going to be keeping the quartz, but then we get to have some fun picking some new materials to add to it. This is going to be an interesting challenge for me. It's not so often that I'm in a beautiful biome like this and we've got to pick out some building blocks to match it, and that's above and below. As you'll see over here, I've picked some coloured materials that are kind of similar to the shades that you see in this area, and I'm hoping that we can use them below ground where things get industrial and above as well. But you'll notice that a lot of these blocks right here are very mechanical and metal looking, and that's just fine. We need a mega torch over in this area. There goes another one. And some of them are a little bit more nature-like. Just these ones over here, actually. Pretty much just 2, maybe 3 of them. Now that I think about it. Hi, get out of here. I don't want your loot bag. No thanks. And also, over here, look at this. A creeper is clearly blown up, so we need to fill this in. I also brought the wrong sort of dirt with me, which never helps, of course. And there are 7 different types of marble that we can use over here. There's actually an 8th one, which is sooty marble, a dark block to contrast this. I really don't like it. It's not a texture I think we're going to include. But obviously, the marble is a key component of this. This is what we've been using on the outside. And all of this is astral sorcery as well. We're not going to use any of the chisel marble, as I don't really like the texture as much as this one. So we're going to stick to those 7 blocks. And we're going to be mixing them up with these ones over here. Now, you might be wondering what materials these are. We've got cobalt at the top there. And this is also cobalt. I think that is a lovely texture. Then we have... which one is this? Steel, we got platinum, and emerald as well. So 4 different types, and I'm not sure which ones we're going to use the most in there, but all of those have been chiseled. And the cool thing with this is that we farm large quantities of them thanks to Force's fluid cow farms. So that's really cool. We don't have to worry about how we're going to get these blocks. And so this will be an interesting build palette to work with. Now, I've dug out some space down here, but I'm yet to build anything, and it appears that mobs are spawning all over this place. Goodness me, watch out. Okay, let's get rid of this guy and his fancy bow. Right, and one more spider over here. Okay, the panic is over, peeps. The panic is over. There is a chance cube down here. We are going to open it. Yes, all hell could break loose, or diamonds, but actually TNT. Peeps, I might have an ocelot on my head, but you gotta take me seriously here. There is one other material that we need, and I almost forgot because I've been preparing, you know. I've been in my own little single player world, doing some stuff in creative mode, placing down some blocks, and I found something that was lovely for the biome, and somehow I almost forgot before I started building, but I think the fact that this is a really great block meant, and there's no way I was going to forget this. Prismarine is going to be awesome for this biome, okay? Because we can chisel it and gets tons more textures than what's in vanilla. Now, I've got me obsidian armor on. I'm pretty confident I'm going to be quite strong, but we're going to try and do things the most easy way I can think of, and that involves being what's sometimes known as a save scummer, or maybe a relog scummer. I don't know what the correct term is, but check this out. If we put down a mega torch, then no hostile mobs should spawn in this area now. But if I relog, shouldn't all of those hostile mobs despawn? The answer is no, they do not. But while I was relogging there, I had time to think. We can just swim away. Let's head over there and then swim back. And in theory, they should have despawned, right? You know, I could have just done that straight away, but I never thought of that. Anyway, that is the starting island, I think. Me, False and Beef went caving just underneath the top of that thing over there. In fact, that wouldn't be the starting island, would it? That's the starting island, and this is the first one that we went to cave. But enough nostalgia of our first days on the server. You know what's going to come next, right? We're going to go down here, and we're going to use Vein Miner. And I can't really see how much that removed, actually. Yeah, it's hard to see underwater. Okay, enough drowning for me. I think we've got enough blocks to get started. Because I've got none of the enchantments for working underwater, this is actually a bit of a pain in the butt. And obviously I made a bit of a mess here, leaving behind all those sea lanterns. But that's going to be enough to get us going, right? And we've also got on some sponges as well. I'm not sure if they're ever really going to be useful. But we should totally chisel this. In fact, let me just grab my chisel right now. And you will see how many cool textures there are to choose from. Look at that. I'm sure we can use some of these in our build palette. Especially these bricks ones right here. I think they're going to look very good when they're varied up. So here are the ones that we can mix together, and adding it to our build palette, it just kind of looks like it belongs in this area. In fact, these might be the perfect blocks to make paths along this area through, right? Anyway, I think we should pop down below and we should check out what I've been up to. There we go. Wow, look at that. Doesn't it look amazing? No, it doesn't really, does it? Yeah, this was my first attempt, and if you ever build and you do something like this and you think, oh, it's just not looking good, well, you've made a step forward, because now you know what don't look good. You start again, you can learn from your mistakes, and behind me, I've come up with something that just feels a lot better so far. Now, clearly, it's not finished, but I love the shape. It's been made a lot bigger, a lot more open, and we've got kind of like a platform in the middle that's built out of these marble bricks. Then we've got these things lining some extra blocks around the outside here, and our walls have just got more depth to them, and I'm really loving how this is going. Now, we've introduced a little bit of colour here through painted glowstone with one of those emerald textures. That was a really good idea. It also got me thinking, can we paint sea lanterns with glowstone? Because I've only got 2 of them, and I was using them in this build, and they were going to go down there for lighting, and that didn't really work out. What I was going to do was have water flowing out of the walls, but the water is purple, and I could really do with something that's a little bit more blue. So we're not going to use water, and that's led us over to this shape here. Now, if I'm unsure about anything, it's maybe this texture. It's a little bit lower down. It's a little bit more industrial, but I think we could probably get away with it. However, we can always chop and change, so I'm going to continue trying stuff, and I think before long we'll have the layout that we want. Hours have gone by, hours, and I take back what I said about not being able to fly. I still love walking through this biome, but down below when I'm building, flight would really have helped so much with this. Pilling around the place blocks is kind of a pain in the butt, and you can see it's not finished, but that's because I'm making some decisions here about what to do in the roofs. Now, over here in the corners, I think I want to put something metallic, and I might even mirror this texture from down here in this space, and we're going to move our prismarine blocks over into these spaces and create walls with a bunch of varied bricks like I described earlier. So for this bit down here, the ring that goes around the outside, I think I want to go with this one over here. That's my favourite of the ones that we've tried, and of course it's going to match the textures on the wall. That one's a little bit too contrast heavy for me. And then we've got a more metallic one over here. So then when it comes to the ceiling, that is the winner. Dark prismarine looks awesome up there. We're totally going to use that. And I tell you what, I wish that you could chisel it into all these different texture variants. You see, it's a part of all of that right now. But imagine all of these if they were darker like that one. That would give you a world of options. Over on this side, we've done emeralds. Nice texture. It goes really well with the marble, which is promising for our build palette. Same for the cobalt, but I don't think overall they fit in too well. And then over here we've got the platinum as well. I think all of these textures that we've picked out work really well with marble. But for this room, we're going to try and get a little bit of consistency going. Well, finally we can say that this room is done. And it looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Do you know why? I made a little adjustment here. I pushed back the walls and added some extra marble bricks at the top and the bottom, and it just looks fantastic. That extra bit of depth goes a long way. So very cool layout that we got going on here, and finally we can start to get to some of the technical stuff. So I've had time to scratch my noggin, think about it, figure out what we're going to do, and I've picked out some of the things that we actually got as rewards from doing the other quests. So by doing the quest book we get pushed in the right direction, right? And one of the things that I was given was this fertilized dirt, which is actually made out of chicken manure. So I took a trip over to Beef's little area where he is building a barn, and it actually looks pretty impressive. So I can't wait to see how that works out for him. So we're going to use this 5x5 area down here. Now if it turns out that we want to make this bigger, we could effectively remove this trim on the edge and make it a 7x7 area. And I think that these farming stations will farm larger areas based on what capacitor you put into them. And I don't know what the default is, but we will be placing possibly a growth crystal below there, and above it we're going to put a farming station. Now we were given these things from completing the quests. You can see they're going up here. I'm not sure if we need the shears as well to harvest the stuff from around this area, but what it means is that we're going to be able to put down the crops and have this thing do all the work. So when it comes to power, if we have a growth crystal directly below it, it means we're going to have something go up here or into this space. So maybe it will come across and go down in front of these stairs, but that would be kind of weird, wouldn't it? So I don't know where the cable is going to go, but it will be an Ender IO conduit. It will provide it with power. It will interact with the items that we're going to have here, and I believe, a little bit of a problem. Can we only farm 4 things at a time? That is something we'll touch on in just a moment. So, the growth crystals. This is kind of cool because I was thinking about what we need for it. Thanks to our loot bag farm, we get stacks upon stacks of these things, right? And if we look in here, you can see we need sea lanterns, iron, and compressed bone blocks. So each one of these can have a growth crystal, which is pretty cool. It does a 9x9 area, so that's more than enough. Oh, and look at that. Checks up to 5 blocks up and down. I didn't notice that before. Right, so if you were to stack these farms, you could get a lot more out of one of these crystals. So yeah, then the next level up required these end crystals, so we can craft those nice and easy. But then after a while I noticed you need a compressed nether star block. So that's something we're not going to be doing today, right? And also a reinforced watering can. That's nice and simple, but again, a nether star. So the growth crystals will speed up the growth of this stuff. They also emit light. So that's pretty good. It's nice and bright down here. Luckily for us, the farming station will let the light through. And now this area is really well lit up, and that lighting might help with the crop growth. Not sure how it works though, because it's all modded and stuff. We've also got this hoe. There we go. We need to turn it into farmland. That's important so we can actually put seeds on. And I haven't made any seeds as of yet. Now that changed back. Is it because we need water in this area? If it is, we can probably hide some water underneath this marble. Okay, another one's changed back. Yeah. So will that help? It's purple water. Also, the range might not be enough to cover the entire thing, so we might end up with one on each side, something like that. But by tilling them all like this, we'll eventually find out. You can see the colour of some of them is changing, so that seems to be effective. Now, once we've crafted some seeds, I've got a bit of a question. Are we only going to be able to farm 4 things at a time here? Because there is a total of, and let me click on my notes, 94. So all of these different essences that you see here, starting with this one, stone essence, all the way through to the last one, which is zinc essence, 94 of those in total. We've got more than 94 spaces here, so in theory we could farm one of everything, which I think would be a really cool objective for us to do. However, if we're limited to 4 because of the way that the farming station works with its seeds, then we're going to be in a little bit of a pickle. But let's chuck in our hoe and our axe. I don't know if we're going to need the shears as well, but I guess we'll soon find out. We might be able to pump bone meal in here as well. And that reminds me of something. So when I was looking for this farmland, there's also something here called fertile dirt. It says place it under farmland. It will make crops grow a little faster above, up to 3 layers below farmland. So perhaps you can stack 3 layers of that below this and everything goes faster. So what I'm seeing is everything just over there is not getting done by the water, is it? So maybe what we'll also do is put some water underneath these stairs. This, in theory, isn't going to be too difficult, actually. I'm going to chuck in a stack of each of these into our storage system. I've already made the tier 1 crafting seeds, and I picked out 6 materials that we're going to farm. It's these 6 right here. I think these 2 and possibly the silicon as well is really going to help us develop our AE2 system. It is applied energistics, yep. And so what I've gone through and done is figured out all the different levels for each of these. So let's bring up the diamond. The diamond is the only one that goes up to tier 5. So we create tier 1 first of all. We can make 6 of those, and then we've run out of the next thing, so we chuck that in there, go back to diamond, go down here. It's such a pain crafting, but it needs to be done, and I've done that wrong. That's what we're making, tier 3 next. So we make 6 of those, but one of these is needed for the Certus, and actually I've just realised that the silicon was level 2, so I'm going to have to go back and make some seeds again. But if I dump those in there, go back over here, click on that twice, we can now make tier 4, and that's what the rest of them are going to be. Okay, and there we go, we've got the silicon one. So with a little bit of thought, you can actually get through that whole crafting process pretty quickly, but the main thing is that we've got stacks upon stacks of this stuff, which means that crafting this is never really going to be too much of a bother. Right, let's get back over there, let's try out these seeds. I'm hoping we'll be able to use more than 4 in each of those farms. Now we've got to make these suckers grow. We can put bone meal into here, which is something we'll possibly be able to automate, and straight away it did some stuff. That's kind of promising, because I was using my watering can, and I wasn't really sure if it was actually having an effect on these plants, because they were kind of growing of their own accord, and I wondered if bone meal would work on them. So I'm bone mealing that a lot, and not a lot is happening. However, when we put bone meal in here, and it's only used a few pieces, it seemed to have an effect straight away. So, it actually looks really promising. We've got 1 piece of lapis there, and it's harvested that, and it hasn't needed to replant this thing. That's kind of terrific. Now, I'd like you to grow. Excellent. Now we've got gold in there as well. Now, it does have an inventory of 6 over in this space, but if we're taking things out of here with item conduits, then it will keep going. So if I just leave this alone over here, I believe it's going to be fine. So we've done the very basics for this mystical agriculture farm, and there is a long way to go in terms of upgrading the infrastructure here. Also, a moment ago I mentioned that there are 94 items to farm, right? There are 96 spaces in this farm, which is kind of cool, so we've got just enough for everything. And let's talk about where we're going to be upgrading stuff. So we know that we could potentially be putting something underneath this fertilized dirt to make it grow faster. We've got our growth crystal that needs upgrading here. We've got the bone meal, which we could eventually automate, you know, the creation of bone meal and it getting pumped into this system. So I've added an Ender IO conduit over here. If we set that to extract, always activate, it only takes out from those slots. That is perfect. That means that we can have a whole bunch of stuff going on here. And also, if we set up 2 channels, we can pump the bone meal in. Now, when it comes to this side over here, of course, it's not using the axe, it's only using the hoe. It's made 8 harvests so far, so we need to make a unbreakable hoe, which we can do using Tinker's Construct, and then that means we'll never have to replenish that, which is just awesome. We can upgrade the speed of this thing with a capacitor upgrade there. And also, we could hide these with conduit facades. We'd definitely put one up at that level, but we could also have a pillar leading down to this thing. So there is plenty to do in terms of upgrading the infrastructure of this and moving it along. I believe that's everything. It's always possible to forget something. You know, I've got a watering can in my hand here. And that reminded me that there's also watering cans for mystical agriculture. So it could be possible that we could include this into the farm somehow. Maybe with a mechanical user, that could help speed it up as well, you know. Anyway, earlier in this video, I did say that we'd be opening all of those bags, right? I haven't opened the artifact bags yet, but I've opened the pet bags. And back over here, there's a couple of interesting pets to show you. There is the banana pet, which actually throws a banana. Let's give it a little right click. That banana looks ridiculous. And then there's a black hole pet, which I don't want to use over here. And we also have one of these to go and open. We're not going to open that in our base as well. So I'm kind of interested in what this does. Didn't we try that already, actually? I think we did try that. It was the banana one that I didn't try. These artifact bags, I tell you, they're alright. I got myself a capacitor bank, a Killer Joe, almost a full set of Terra Steel, which is pretty nice, and a bat in a golden lasso. Now, I was thinking about next episode getting flight. That saves us what could have been a tricky business, of course, going underground trying to find ourselves a bat and capturing it as well. That being said, I killed a couple of bats while I was building over there. I didn't even think about what I was going to be doing next. I wasn't thinking about the bat as a valuable resource, you know. We also got the Killer Joe. There is a quest for that, so we're going to detect it and complete it. What's the book? Sharpness 5. Wow, that's not so bad, is it? And then what's the next quest? I could probably make one of these nice and easy, but we're done with our questing for day. I'm going to head over to an island off in that direction now, and we shall open this isohedron. This is going to become our little area for cranking these things open, isn't it? We've done a few over here before. Let's cross our fingers and hope for good luck. And yes, I said isohedron a moment ago. It is icosahedron. Actually, I probably said that wrong as well. Hey, I'm no good at pronouncing words. Leave me alone. Right. Oh, I was thinking, oh, it's one of those, is it? I'll just punch it and blow it up. Great, so all we've made is a giant creeper hole. Well, that was a little bit anticlimactic, wasn't it? It certainly was. And that's going to be the end of this episode. If you had enjoyed it, then leave a like. As always, thank you so much for your support. And I'll see you in the next episode of FoolCraft. So ciao for now. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.